Good afternoon and welcome to the inaugural edition of Coweta Connections Online. My name is Roger Kolman. I'm your host for this video series that we're going to do around the city, kind of showing different things, how the city does things and why we do them. Today we are at the oxbow on the Verdigris River that the city gets its fresh water supply from. We're going to take a tour of the plant and the reservoir and kind of show people where our water comes from, what happens to it when it's in the plant, and what the great job that our guys do to make your water that comes out of your faucet at your house be drinkable and safe. So we're going to start by taking a water sample from this oxbow to kind of show what the water looks like when it comes out of the river. Our intake structure is about 15 feet out in the middle of the oxbow, and Lee's going to come and take a dip of this water so we can visually show you what it looks like when we first start the treatment process. Okay, so now we're going to follow that water sample that we just took back up to the plant. These two big pumps are responsible for drawing the water from the oxbow and putting it into a pipe that pushes the water uphill about half a mile to the reservoir that is outside of our water plant. Okay, we followed that water sample from the oxbow on the river all the way up the hill to our influent line here at the reservoir. This 13-acre reservoir holds about 10 days worth of water supply. On average, water will come up the hill and stay in this pond 3 to 5 days before it actually makes its way into the plant. So we're going to take a sample of the water that's in the pond here to be able to kind of compare to what it looks like when it comes in from the river to when it comes into the settlement pond. Over my shoulder, you can see the pump station that sits on a floating dock. Inside that station are 4 pumps. Each one of them are capable of pumping 1.5 million gallons of water into the plant every day. Okay, we're here with Lee, our water plant supervisor. Lee, could you explain to the folks at home what this test does?
Yes, this is a jar test. A jar test is basically going to let me know how much chemical I need to add for the turbidity of the water. The turbidity of the water is basically how much dirtiness is in your water. That's what we're looking to remove so you have clean, drinkable water. So this process we've already taken 3 different samples from 3 different places around the plant, the river, the beginning of the reservoir, and actually coming into the plant. And according to the turbidity, we've dosed it at 14 parts per million. With that, we're going to simulate the whole process of the plant. We've given it a rapid mix. We're on stage 2 right now where we've slowed it down. We're going to slow it down one more time for 20 minutes. And then we're going to let it set for 20 minutes and we're going to pull some readings off from it to see if our calculations are correct what we want to dose the water. We do these tests daily at the water plant to ensure that the quality leaving this plant is at the highest it can possibly be.
Okay, we're at the front end of the water plant with our plant supervisor, Lee. Lee, could you explain to us what we're seeing right here?
What we're seeing right here right now is this the beginning process of treating the water coming into the plant. We have the raw water coming in from our reservoir, and this is the part where we're going to start hitting with chemicals. We're going to mix it up, we're going to slow it down, and we're going to start letting the chemicals settle out. I'm sure we're getting ready to show you the latter portions of that. But yeah, this is the beginning part.
So this is where we add the coagulant to the system.
Yes, sir. Yes, it is. So we're injecting our coagulant into the raw water, and we're beginning the treatment process. We're going to mix it up really, really fast, and we're going to put it in below me, which is going to be our flock basins. This is going to be flock basin number 3, and we're going to leave from this one, and I'm going to show you what an empty flock basin looks like so everybody can see what the paddles actually look like that off inside of there. Okay, so this is our flock basin number 2. The rapid mixer I showed you earlier was on number 3, so the water's being mixed with the chemical really, really quick. We're going to put it into these flock basins, and these big paddles down here are going to slowly mix this water up, slowly mix the coagulant up, and we're going to start letting the flock form. So we are now at Sedimentation Basin number 1. The water has been treated at the rapid mixer. made its way through the flock basins, and we're now to the sedimentation basin. This is where we're going to give the chemical time really to do its job, and we're going to form flock in there. The flock is going to actually, the chemical and the flock are going to stick together. We're going to pull all the dirt out of the water. We're going to put it on the bottom of this sedimentation basin, and we have some sweeps that drag across the bottom really, really slowly, and they're going to pull that sludge to the end, and we're going to pump it out. So we are now at the end of the sedimentation basin, and the water is going to slowly bring its way up through these settling plates. These settling plates are made to adhere to any flock that's not going to the bottom of the sedimentation basin. It's going to stick to those, and the water is actually going to come up through these little weep holes. As the water comes through the weep holes, it's going to hit these troughs, and we're going to send it to our filters, which is going to remove anything left that's in the water. We're now at the portion of the plant where the water has left the sedimentation basin and has made its way to the filters. We have 4 filters here at the Coweta water plant. Each one of these filters is capable of handling 1.5 million gallons of water per day, which is 6 million gallons is what this plant is actually capable of handling throughout the day. We can process so much water here. But once the water comes into here, it's going to go through our filters. When it leaves the filters, the only thing keeping it from being drinkable is we haven't hit it with chlorine yet, so this is the next to last stage of the water treatment process.
Okay, among the last steps that we take to deliver fresh, clean water to your house is we run the water that comes from the plant through the chlorine contact basin behind me. On the other side of that is the chlorine gas building that has 2 1-ton gas cylinders of chlorine gas contained therein. It pumps that gas into this contact basin, which removes any remaining biotics that may have come from the river. That water then is pumped into these 500,000 gallon water tanks that then feed into the high service pump plant over here. And that is where the water leaves this facility and goes to the water tank that is on 131st and 289th East Avenue.
We're back at the jars, doing the jar test. As you can see, we've got the flock formed in there now, which is going to simulate what's going on in the plant. So we're going to stop this process. We're going to remove these paddles out of it, and we're going to let this set for 20 minutes to give the flock time to settle out in these jars, the same as it would up in the sedimentation basin. After 20 minutes, we're going to run some tests on this. We're going to test the turbidity of the water, and we're going to see what kind of water quality we got. And that's going to let us know if we need to adjust chemical any further or if we're good to go for the day. Throughout the day at the lab, we test the water numerous times. We test our water more coming through the plant than we're required to by DEQ. We try to stay on top of things out here. So the water that you see coming out of our lab sink is coming directly from our clear wells. It's just the same water that's going to the citizens of Coweta. So I'm going to pull a sample directly out of the faucet here so you can see how clear it is. And this is the water, which you've seen earlier in the video, came straight from the Verdigris River. It's clear, really clear. So now, bottoms up. Doesn't it get any better than that?
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Coweta Connections Online. Please join us next time when we will discover another subject to discuss in our community.